I'm Phyllis. I live in my van. Hello, my tribe. Thank you for joining me today for this video. I want to talk about your next steps. You're going to hear some cars driving by in the background occasionally, but that's real van life. It's not always perfect and wonderful in national parks. So now you've gotten your feet wet. You've had a weekend trip that worked out, or it didn't work out, and then you had another weekend trip. And then you had a larger trip where you gave yourself some more challenges. And now you're thinking about what's next. The next thing is a decision. Are you ready for this? Do you really want van life? Do you really want nomad life? That's the big thing right now, is your decision. Do you want to go full-time? Do you want to go part-time? Have you looked at your money? Are you really ready to make that decision? Are you really ready to sell all your stuff and move away from your friends and your family and live in a vehicle? Whether it's a van or an RV, it's still a vehicle. And that's a really big thing, and I really, really want you to think about that. Are you really ready? You've had 2 trips under your belt now, but there's really important things to think about whether or not this life is right for you. And that is the most important question and decision for you to make now, out of all this planning. And I want you to think about one thing. If you've had these trips and they went well, and then maybe you took another trip and it went pretty well, but then you started thinking about your life and you started thinking about, you know what? I like my apartment. I like my friends, having my family nearby. I don't want you to think about not being a nomad as a failure at all. What we're trying to do in this lifestyle is just live the best lives that we can. And I want you to live the best life that you can. If that means staying in your current place of residence, I want you to do that. All I want is for you to be happy. And if that makes you happy, I'm so happy for you. So if you decide you're going to be a nomad, full-time or sort of part-time, you're going to have to start getting rid of your stuff. And before that, I saw this on one of Bob Wells' videos. Stop buying stuff. Those little knickknacks. I know y'all ladies, oh my gosh, Target is so awesome, isn't it? Oh my gosh. Like, you walk down that kitchen, I was like, I need that. I need that. Oh, look at that pretty hand towel. Stop buying stuff and start getting rid of stuff. Think about what kind of rig you're going to live in and plan accordingly with how much stuff you can keep out of the stuff that you have. You don't have to buy a whole bunch of stuff for inside your rig. So plan on what you can keep, what you have. Sheets, towels, clothes, you know, the basics. Everything else, it's got to go. But if you want to live in a vehicle, you have to get rid of almost all of your stuff. And that's just a fact. I want you to take a good hard look at your money. I want you to make a budget. I want you to figure out how much you can spend on a rig. I want you to really be on top of how much you're going to need to live and how much money you have, and whether or not you can make those 2 things work together, because they're going to have to work together. Can you be frugal if you have to be? The money is a really big thing. So I want you to sit down. If you have a financial advisor, that'd be great, or a close friend who's like a bookkeeper or just really good at spreadsheets. Lay out what your expenses might be and really plan a budget. Now that budget is probably going to go mostly out the window or partly out the window when you get started, but you need to learn how to make a budget for living this way, and your budget might not be far off. It probably won't be. So just really look realistically at your finances and make sure that you can live the way you want to live on your budget. It can be a lot cheaper to live this way, but not necessarily. If you have a big rig and you like to go out to eat a lot, you like stuff, I don't know, then you'll spend a lot of money. But if you're like me, I'm on a budget and I do my own cooking and I don't have tanks. I poop in a bucket and I just live really simply. So I want you to really, really think about money. That's a really, really important thing for you to look at right now. I want you to think about loneliness. It can get really lonely on the road. Are you ready to give up? If you have friends and family nearby, I'm not saying all of y'all do, I didn't. If you have that, are you ready to give that up? If you don't have that now, are you ready to be alone for a lot of the time? Or are you prepared sorry, the mosquitoes are getting me. Are you prepared to talk to strangers and join meetup groups and that kind of thing? But since you're thinking about now going on the road, I want to focus on that right now, that you need to really think about loneliness and how you're going to handle it, because it's an important thing. It just is. So now let's talk about a rig. You'll notice out of all the videos I've made about getting ready, getting started, I haven't talked about a rig. And I bet that's the kind of videos you've been watching the most of. But it's actually not the most important part of being a nomad. Being a nomad is a decision. It's being able to get rid of all your stuff, being able to live in a vehicle, being able to be different. But you definitely do need to think about a rig. This video is not about picking out a rig. I'll probably do another video about that. But you need to think about your rig. I want you to be realistic about money. If you can use your current vehicle just to get started, I highly recommend doing that. I don't want you to spend like most of your life savings to buy a big fancy van, and then 6 months down the road, you decide this just isn't for me. So if you can use your current vehicle, that's what I want you to do. If you can't, like I had a little 4-cylinder, 25-year-old pickup that couldn't even get itself up a big hill, so I couldn't use it, so I had to buy something else. But if you can use what you have, please use it. If you have to buy something, I want you to be really realistic about money. How much money can you really spend? I will say the big thing about your decision about what kind of rig you're gonna get is about the compromise that's always there between comfort and convenience. If you've got a big RV, you've got like a living room, a bedroom, you've got tanks, a flush toilet, a shower, great convenience. But they're more expensive to run and harder to find places to park. The opposite is my situation, where I have a very small space. I have no bathroom, I have no shower, but I can fit in I can fit in any parking space that you can show me. And I get good gas mileage. So you need to think about what's more important to you, the physical comforts or the ability to move around a lot and be nimble. So that's really what I want you to think about as far as getting a rig, and money. The big thing, that's money. So now you've been looking at rigs, you're thinking about what kind of rig you want to get, and you're ready for your next steps. There's other stuff you need to plan for too. You need to decide how you're going to have residency. Are you going to keep your current address like I did for a little while until it catches up with you? Are you going to go to another state and establish residency? And again, I'm not going to go into all that in this video. It would be way too much for one video if I went into everything all at once. But you need to think about residency, your driver's license, your bank account, everything that's associated with your address. What are you going to do about that? That's really important. Insurance for your rig. It's not just like getting insurance for a car. I may try to do a Zoom live feed with my insurance agent, and he can explain all the different ways to get insurance for either a van, a converted van, an RV, those kind of things. So, but insurance for your rig is really important. If you get regular vehicle insurance and for your rig, and then you have an accident, I've read that they can decline to cover you because they didn't know you were living in it. So I don't know that for sure. I've just read that or seen it on other YouTube videos, but just keep that in mind. Insurance for your rig is very important because your whole life is going to be in that rig. My whole life, everything I own in this world is right here, and it's very important. Now, this might be the hard part. I want you to tell your family what you're going to do. And if you watched my last couple of videos, you might have heard me say, be strong. Don't let your kiddos talk you out of this. You can do it. Don't let them tell you you're too old or you need to stay home and take care of their kids. If you've made this decision, you be strong and you do it for you. But you're going to have to tell them, and you may as well do it now. So now you're ready. You've got your rig. You've got insurance. You've got a budget. You've got everything planned. Now I want you to plan before you leave wherever. I want you to plan out 1 month of where you're going to be. That sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. I would never plan that far out ahead. But since you're just getting started, I want you to have something of a plan at first. And it's probably going to change along the way. You're probably going to run into some problems, and you're going to want to stay longer there and then not so long here. But then you'll have a route planned and some places to go for your first month. And here's what else I want you to do. I want you to go out. I want you to have fun. I want you to look up at the sky and the stars and see mountains and deserts and oceans and wildlife and drive around and feel free. I want that for all of you. I really do. So be prepared. Take these steps. Don't do what I did. Don't just jump in the deep end. Jump in the deep end if you want to, but if you want to do it slow and steady and win the race, then please follow these videos, and I know you're going to do great. And if you don't, it's okay. If you want to go back home, it's okay too. You just live the best life for you.